So here's a really interesting choice. Do you go for a brand new Pixel 7a? Brand new, they're $499. Now, the 7 series, which came out 8 months ago, prices are dropping. On Amazon, I'm going to include a screenshot. Prices on Amazon, you can get a used, however, very good condition. A used, very good condition, unlocked Pixel 7. I think it's the 128 gigabyte. So what you have to do is ask yourself, what do you want from your phone? If you're trying to decide between the 7 and the 7A, the 7 is a little more expensive. I think it was $599 brand new, $100 more. So you're asking, well, what's the difference between the 7 and the 7A? The 7A is classified as a mid-ranger, meaning it has mid-level grade specs, specifications inside. The Pixel 7, which was a little better than the 7A, has, I'm not going to say flagship specs, but it has top-tier mid-range specs. I've used my daughter's. My daughter has a 7. My wife and I have a 7 Pro. The 7 is freaking awesome. Of course, you can tell the difference when you're using the Pro and the 7 Pro and the 7. I'm not going to say, oh, there's no difference. There is a difference. However, if I had to use the 7, I would be 100% satisfied with it. The 90 hertz screen, it's very fast. It's very fluid. I would recommend, here's a difference. I always get now the bigger storage. So you can get the Pixel 7 in a 256 gigabyte storage version. That's what we got my daughter. That's what I have on my Pro. I suggest that, especially if you plan on keeping a device for more than a few years. You're going to need the extra storage. The apps get more bigger with data as time goes on. Photos, videos, although Google does a good job of storage management, uploading all your stuff to the Google Cloud. However, the 7A doesn't have 256 gigs. It comes stock with 128, so keep that in mind. Second thing is the Pixel 7 has Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and the back. So it's glass front and back. Has Gorilla Glass Victus, which is it's not their latest. I think Victus 2 is their latest generation, the current model of glass. Now, I'm not talking about the color display, what you're looking at me right now. I'm actually talking about the physical glass that your finger touches when you use your phone. So the 7 has the Gorilla Glass Victus, which was last year's model, which is about 8 months ago. It was the most current one. Victus 2 came out with the S23. The Pixel 7a only has Gorilla Glass 3, and it has plastic on the back. Now, it's not crappy feeling. It does feel, you can easily be fooled. It does feel like glass on the back. It's not a cheap plastic. It does feel like glass, however, it's not. The Gorilla Glass 3, I think, is 2 or 3 years old, because it went Gorilla Glass 3, 4, 5, and then Victus. So it's 3 years old, which means it's more likely to break and or scratch if you drop your phone. The latter years of Gorilla Glass, as you get closer to our current date and time, the glass is just more, strong and progresses as time goes on. Now, let's see, what else is there? The charging is a little slower. Now, I didn't experience slow charging. The battery life is, wow, it's awesome. Now, charging it, see, here's the deal. The normal average person will easily get through a full day. If you have a normal 9-to-5 job, or even if you do the opposite, even if you work graveyard shift and you work at night and you sleep sometime during the day, that as long as you charge it every night when you sleep, it'll last you all day. You're not going to have to worry about battery life. So that's why charging with that device is not a big deal, because plug it in when you go to sleep, and when you wake up, you're good to go for the day, and it will literally last you all day. The Pixel 7a has a little better battery life than the 7. However, the 7 is a very good battery life as well. It will last you all day. So I think the charging speeds on the 7A is 18 watts. Wired charging, I think 15 watts on the back. Maybe wrong, but I believe it's 15, either 15 or 5, whatever. Now the charging on the 7 is, I want to say 23 watts wired, 27, 23. So it's a little bit more, maybe 15 to 20% more or faster charging if you have the right charger. So and the wireless is 15 watts. I know that for sure. So you do have, now the 7A does have a little bigger battery, I believe. Very, very minute. It's basically the same. And let's see, the cameras are a little different. Now, at first glance, the 7A has more megapixels. I think it has a 64 megapixel camera on the back. The Pixel 7 has a 50 megapixel camera. Now don't be concerned about camera stuff. Now the Pro, the bigger one, more expensive one, has an extra camera on the back. But don't let the camera stuff come down to deciding whether or not you make that purchase or not. It's basically the same. They're going to look the same when you take a photo and a video, trust me. So now the other noticeable difference is size. Pixel 7 is a 6.3 inch display, and the 7A is a 6.1 inch display. Just last week I reviewed the 7A. If you want to check out my previous video, the difference is about a status bar in height. If you put the two phones together, you know, at the very top where your status bar is, where it says the time, all your notifications, there's that little black bar that goes across the top. That's the difference between the 6.3 on the 7 and the 6.1 on the 7A. Is just a status bar. It's literally that much taller, the 7 is, than the 7A. So it's a little smaller in the hand. Now, it's not that much of a difference, so don't let that be a concern as well. Weight is about the same. So basically it comes down to, now the internals are the same because they have the same processor. The Tensor G2, both come with 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is perfect. And again, comes down to storage basically. If you can get away with 128, then they're even. If you have to have 256, then you're going to go with the 7. If you drop your phone all the time, you have kids that play with your phone, throw them around, you may want to get the 7 because it has the newer Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and back. Let's see, size and internals are basically the same as far as the UFS storage, which will fly over a lot of people's heads, but Google upgraded that to a 4.0 storage. Just how fast your photos pop up and you can transfer files and stuff like that. So those are basically equal. So it's basically going to come down to, obviously, price is the main thing. If you can find a great Pixel 7, even new sometimes, or very good used, like that one on Amazon. Depending on which way you want to go, they're both going to get the same number of security software updates. They're both, I think it's 4 or 5 years, security patches, software updates are all the same. So if it was up to me, I would get the Pixel 7. Just because I would have to have the 256 gigs of storage, which are a little harder to find and a little more expensive, about $50 more expensive, but you can find them. And the display is a little bigger and a little faster charging. Sometimes I gotta charge it during the day, sometimes I forget at night, just like everybody else, right? Not perfect. And the Gorilla Glass. I'm not one to drop my phone that often, knock on wood, but it's there if you need it. So the 7A is really cool. They do have a really cool that obsidian. No. It's the coral. The obsidian's the black. The coral color is really cool. My mother got that one. The one I reviewed was black, but my daughter has the lemongrass Pixel 7, and which is really nice too. It's kind of the yellowish green color, and then she had the mint color Pixel 6 last year. That was a cool color. So they don't have the coral in the 7. They only have that orangish color in the 7A. But the white Pixel is probably the one to get. They also, this is the white 7A. This will come in the 7. Now the Pixel 7 only has these 2 cameras. The Pro, which I have here, has this extra camera. I think it's a telephoto. I believe it's a telephoto. You know, just helps for a couple other things, but you can do everything else. You know, like I said, pictures are going to come out great. They also have, you know what I remember, the 7A also comes in that sky blue color, which is really nice as well. So they give you a little more color options. It's not a bummer, right? If you're like, I'm gonna get the 7A instead of the 7, even if you find a used one for like, I saw some for like $400. I mean, that's a steal, and it's only what, a month old. So now's a really good time, because when the Pixel 8s come out, I think between now and for the next 2 months or 3 months, now's the time. If you don't get a Pixel every year when the new flagships come out, the 8 series comes out, or like the 7 did last September, if you don't buy them right when they release, now is the time to do it. Right in the beginning of summer, right when the A series drops, is the time to get it, because they're trying to release and get rid of their stock that they had from the previous year to get ready for the new models. So I'll link some really good deals. I'm not affiliated with anything, don't get commissions or anything. I'm just trying to look out for y'all.